Krishna. Omagyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Ahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Jutapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavansha Sri Rupam Sagra Jatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijanaitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangulam Hare Girim Yat Kripa Tamahang Bande Sri Gurun Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanyeshwaram. Hare Krishna. So welcome to all the devotees. I especially appreciate the effort of Jayanta Kumar Prabhu to organize this program, this event. So tonight we are going to discuss about the glorification of Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavad Gita Mahatmya, and also about the 5 basic tattvas, the truth discussed throughout the Bhagavad Gita. So we may have heard all this, what I'm going to speak today, what I'm going to present today, but that is the formula actually. It is confirmed in the Padma Purana, where it is mentioned, Sada Sevya Sriman Bhagavati Kata Yasya Shravanamatena Harichitam Samasraya. So we have to hear again and again. Sada Sevya. So hearing is also service. And how much we have to serve, how often we have to hear. So it is mentioned again and again. Sada Sevya. Yasya Shravana Matrena, simply by hearing, actually, giving our oral reception. Harischitam Samasraya, Lord Hari, Lord Krishna, will undoubtedly manifest in our heart. So thank you so much for this opportunity to all the devotees present here. Hare Krishna. So Bhagavad Gita Mahatmya, the glorification of the Bhagavad Gita, as of course this one that we are going to discuss today is the glorification that given by Sankaracharya, Adi Sankaracharya. Of course, as we know that he's the founder for the Mayavadi philosophy. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that Mayavada Bhasha Hoile Sharvanas. If we hear the commentary given by the Mayavadis on the Bhagavad Gita, so Hoile Sharvanas, or our bhakti, devotion will be destroyed. But we have to understand here that actually we are not discussing the commentary given by the Mayavadi, but this is the glorification on the Bhagavad Gita given by Lord Shiva himself. He incarnates himself as Adi Sankaracharya. So of course, when we talk about the glorification of the Bhagavad Gita, it's actually endless. It's endless. The glorification of Bhagavad Gita is endless. There's so many souls, especially nowadays in our movement. There's so many people get in touch with the Krishna consciousness movement, get chained in their heart simply by receiving the Bhagavad Gita. There are so many people chained and become Krishna conscious through the Bhagavad Gita. Studying the Bhagavad Gita, reading the Bhagavad Gita. So this Bhagavad Gita Mahatmya by Adi Sankaracharya, there are 7 slokas actually. Yeah, there are 7 slokas. So we will read all the verses and then we can discuss. Yeah. So this is text number 1. I think all of us already familiar with this Bhagavad Gita Mahatmya slokas given by Adi Sankaracharya. Yeah. Gita Sastram idam punyam ya patet prayata human Vishnu padam avapnoti bhaya soka di varjita. Translation: one who with a regulated mind recites with devotion this Bhagavad Gita scripture, which is the bestower of all virtue, will attain to a holy abode such as Vaikuntha, the residence of Lord Vishnu, which is always free from the mundane qualities based on fear and lamentation. So this is our position in the material world. Yeah, fear and lamentation. Soka, Moha, Bhaya, Apaha. It is described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah. So fear and lamentation. But how we can be freed from these 2 points here, fear and lamentation? Everybody is actually affected by fear and lamentation. Yeah. When we see the commentary of the Acharyas such as Srila Prabhupada and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, amongst the 4 tendencies of the living entities, mostly in the animal society and the human society. Yeah, ahar nidra bhaya maitunam cha. So Srila Prabhupada explained that bhaya is uh, the biggest, how to say this in English, the biggest factor in our life. Yeah, everybody is in fear. Yeah, everybody is in fear. The biggest urge. Yeah, if we observe like the little bird in the street, for example, when the little bird on the street just eating some grains. So after a few grains, he would, turn his head to some directions, observing whether any other bigger animals or bigger birds would attack it. So fear, and we also, whether we are the Indra or Indragopa. Indra means the king of heaven, Indragopa means the smallest insect. Everybody possesses this fear in their heart. Yeah. If you become the richest man in the world, you have this anxiety that somebody would come and take your wealth. If you become the poorest man, the beggar, you would be in anxiety thinking that what will I eat today? What will I eat tomorrow? So this fear is always there. Yeah. But Yashyam Vaishruyamanaya Krishne Parama Puruse Bhaktir Udpadate Pumsam Soka Moha Bhaya. So not only Bhaya and Soka, but also Moha. Moha means illusion. Moha will be destroyed simply by the process of hearing. Yeah, Yashyam Vaishruyamanaya. Because this hearing process will actually invoke bhakti in our heart. Yeah. Krishna Parama Purushe Bhaktir Utpadyate. Bhaktir Utpadyate means devotion. Devotion will arouse in our heart. So that is the secret. So Bhagavad Gita is also like that. When we read with devotion, when we hear carefully with devotion the verses of the Bhagavad Gita and the commentary given by bona fide acharyas, that actually help us to overcome this fear and lamentation. And text number 2, Gita Dhyayana Silasya Pranayama Parasya Naiva Santi Hipapani Purva Janma Kritani cha. If one reads Bhagavad Gita very sincerely and with all seriousness, then by the grace of the Lord, the reactions of his past misdeeds will not act upon him. So Bhagavad Gita is capable to destroy all sins. All sins, not only the sins, but of actually the tendency to sin also. Yeah, because the Bhagavad Gita is actually non-different from Krishna himself, because Krishna is situated in the absolute platform. What is absolute platform means? Absolute platform means that Krishna and his words is non-different. Yeah, that is absolute means. His holy name and himself is non-different. Therefore, when we chant the holy names, we are actually connected directly with Krishna. When we read the Bhagavad Gita, which is actually the teaching given by the Lord himself, so we are directly connected with Krishna. In similar way, if we read Prabhupada's book also, we are directly in connection with Srila Prabhupada. So whatever is being touched by Krishna will get purified. Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha, especially his holy name. Yeah. So Krishna is like Chintamani jewels. Whatever touched by Chintamani stone, Chintamani jewel, it also will turn into jewel. So if we read the Bhagavad Gita sincerely, so we undoubtedly becomes purified, yeah, purified, especially from the tendency to sin, the Papa Bija, nicely described by Srila Rupa Goswami in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And text number 3. Maline mochanam pumsam jalasnanam dine dine sakrit gitamritasnanam samsara malanasanam. One may cleanse himself daily by taking a bath in water. But if one takes a bath even once in the sacred Ganges water of Bhagavad Gita, for him the dirt of material life is altogether vanquished. So, in one purport in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada explained that actually the water Ganges and the instruction of Sri Krishna, of Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, they are non-different, because both are directly emanating from the body of the Lord. Yeah. Mother Ganga emanates directly from the toe of Lord Vishnu. And then the Bhagavad Gita emanates directly from the lotus mouth of Lord Krishna himself. So they are non-different. So when you take part in Ganges, you get purification. So similarly, if you take bath in the verses, in the slokas of the Bhagavad Gita, you will get immense purification. There's no doubt about it. Samsara malanasanam. This is very important. Samsara malanasanam means, mala means the cycles. Yeah, like we have japa mala. So the bondage of samsara, yeah, samsara mala nasanam will be destroyed. The repetition of birth and death will be destroyed. Yeah. And then text number 4, Gita Sugita Kartavya Kim Anyai Sastra Vistaraihi Ya Swayam Padmana Bhasha Mukha Padmat Vinisrita. Because Bhagavad Gita is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one need not read any other Vedic literature. one may ask, like, oh, Bhagavad Gita is enough, what about Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita? But this verse, why it's mentioned here, you don't need to read any other literature. That's actually to establish the point that the Bhagavad Gita, being directly spoken by the Lord himself, is actually complete in itself, in which you don't need any other literature. If you just study, you read, study thoroughly the Bhagavad Gita and put into practice whatever Krishna is teaching in the Bhagavad Gita, so your life will become successful. Yeah. One need only attentively and regularly hear and read Bhagavad Gita. In the present age, people are so absorbed in mundane activities that it's not possible for them to read all the Vedic literatures. But this is not necessary. This one book, Bhagavad Gita, will suffice, because it is the essence of all Vedic literatures, and especially because it is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Actually, this verse having good connection, almost similar uh, understanding with the second verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah, Dharma projita kavita utra paramo nirmat saranam satam vedyam vastava matravas sivanam tapatrayon mulanam. From this point, Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kim Vapare Ishwaraha. So Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kim Vapare Ishwaraha. The Srimad Bhagavatam is compiled by the incarnation of God, Srila Vyasadeva, yeah, in his maturity. Kim Vapare Ishwaraha. What is there? What is their need to read any other scripture if you have Srimad Bhagavatam? Sadhyo Hridya Avaridya Trita Kritivi Shusru Subhi Starshana. Provided you have to be attentively hearing. Kritivi Susru Subhi. So this is the culture of hearing. Attentively and submissively. Kritivi Susru Subhi Starshana. Yeah, Sadhyo Hridi Avaridya Trita. So Lord Krishna will manifest in one's heart. So similarly, the Bhagavad Gita also like that, being non-different from Krishna because it emanates from Krishna's lotus mouth directly. So the point here is that whether it is Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, uh, whatever connected to Krishna, when one hears it attentively, that's actually enough to purify oneself, and you don't need any other literature. Srila Rupa Goswami explained in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, saying that actually one should not read too many books. Probably you have come across to that point by Sri Rupa Goswami. Now, what does it mean? Reading too many books, the Prabhupada mentioned, explained in the Nectar of Devotion, reading too many books means that books or literatures which are not connected at all to Krishna. Yeah, as far as Bhagavad Gita is concerned, Srimad Bhagavatam is concerned, Chaitanya Charitamrita is concerned, of course, that is recommended to read. Yeah, recommended to read. So that's the point of this verse. Yeah, that's because the Bhagavad Gita is so glorious that you don't need any other literatures. So just enough this one book, to make our life success. Text number 5. Bharatamrita sarvashwam Vishnu Vaktrad Vinisritam Gita Gangodakam Pitva Punarjanmana Vidyate. Punarjanmana Vidyate. This is the striking point here. Punarjanma na Vidyate. By drinking the Ganges waters of the Gita, the divine quintessence of the Mahabharata emanating from the holy lotus mouth of Lord Vishnu, one will never take birth in the material world again. See, punar janma na vidyate. Never take birth again in the material world. In other words, by devotionally reciting the Gita, the cycle of birth and death is terminated. Yeah. So the Bhagavad Gita is a guarantee for our liberation, but how we have, in what mood we have to read the Bhagavad Gita, it is mentioned here. Yeah, by devotionally reciting the Gita, means with bhakti. Especially here in India, once I went to South India. Once I went to South India, and there was a group of small kids. They are reciting the 12 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita by heart. By heart. I was so surprised. That, wow, these kids, amazing. They could recite the 12 chapters of Bhagavad Gita so fluently, like flowing Ganges River, exactly, like no stoppage. There are around 15 kids at that time. I was witnessing. I was like, wow. But then after that, after the performance finished, of course, they ate all kinds of food stuff. Yeah, and then I was thinking, okay, so that's exactly like a parrot consciousness. But of course, I'm not judging anybody here. That is fine. It is your privilege, actually, being born in India. That's your privilege, actually. You come in contact with the Vedic culture, since the very day of your life. But if you don't dive deeply into it, reciting the Bhagavad Gita is of course glorious. And there are many pastimes. Actually, each chapter of the Bhagavad Gita has its own glorification along with pastimes. Just simply by reciting it, you get so much benefit, so much piety. And what speak of if you really dive into Bhagavad Gita with full devotion? Punarjanma na vidyate. So your repetition of birth and death is terminated. That means stop. And this verse, text number 6, this is a very beautiful analogy amongst these 7 verses of the Gita Mahatmya. Text number 6, honestly speaking, this is one of my favorite slokas. Yeah. Sarvapani sadogavo dugdha gopalanandana parto vatsa sudir bhokta dugdham gitam ritam mahat. All the Upanishads are like a cow. Sarva Upanishadu, Gao. Yeah? All the Upanishads are like a cow. And the milker of the cow is Lord Krishna. Gopalanandana is Lord Krishna, the son of Nanda. Arjuna is the calf. The beautiful nectar of the Gita is the milk. And the fortunate devotees of fine theistic intellect are the drinkers and enjoyers of that milk. So this is a very beautiful analogy. Yeah. The Bhagavad Gita is like a cow, and Krishna is the Gopal, the cow herd, one who milked the cow. But here it is, a cow without a calf will not give milk. So the Bhagavad Gita will not be spoken if there is no Arjun. Yeah. So if there is no calf, the cow doesn't give milk, right? Just like a mother, a human, if there is no child born, a baby born, so there is no milk in the breast. So similarly, the cow is also like that. The milk bag would be empty because there is no motherly affection. So Arjun is like the calf. So we have to be very grateful to Arjun that he was put into illusion by the Lord, of course, in Yoga Maya, illusion by the Lord, in which actually we are so fortunate that we drink this nectarian, the milk. We drink the milk. We are so fortunate. Krishna already milked the cow. And thanks to Arjun, because of him, the milk is there. We just drink the milk. So similarly, the Bhagavad Gita is there, spoken by the Lord through Arjuna for our benefit. Yeah, for our benefit. And then the last verse of this Gita Mahatmya, Bhagavad Gita Mahatmya by Adi Shankaracharya. Ekam Sastram Devaki Putra Gitam Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva. Eko Mantras Tasya Namamiyani Karma Pekam Tasya Devasasheva. There need be only one holy scripture, and that is the divine Bhagavad Gita, sung by Lord Sri Krishna. Only one worshipable Lord, and that is Lord Krishna. Only one mantra, and that is his holy names. And only one duty, and that is devotional service unto that supreme worshipable Lord Sri Krishna. So everything should be centered in Krishna. Yeah. If you want to hear something about Krishna. Yeah. If you want to worship somebody, worship Sri Krishna. Yeah. Achyuta Ijya, worship Lord Achyuta, Sri Krishna. You want to chant mantra, of course, the best mantra is the holy names of Lord Krishna. Especially we are in Kali Yuga, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Yeah. Karma Pyekam Tasya Devasya Seva. If we want to do some service to somebody, so serve the Supreme Personality of God. So these are the 7 verses glorifying the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And of course, there is another book called the Bhagavad Gita Mahatmya. This is actually the conversation between Lord Shiva and Parvati. There are 18 chapters of that book. It's a small book, and each chapter is glorifying one uh, chapter, yeah, and contain a very interesting story. So, how far we have gone now? This is, yeah, 7:41. Okay, not bad. We are taking good pace here. So just want to narrate one pastimes about the glorification of chapter 1 Bhagavad Gita. Probably all of you may have heard this, but it's always good to hear it again. Yeah. So one day there was a person by name Susarma. So this Susarma, he's completely a religious person. He never done any pious activity in his life. You know? So he loves to drink alcohol and eat meat like this. His daily life, he maintained his life just by collecting some wood and leaves in the forest and sell it in the market and buy some alcohol and drink like this. He never done any good activity, nothing. And then one day he went to a garden which is belonged to a sage to collect some wood and uh, some leaves. And then he was bitten by a cobra, by a snake, and then he passed away. And then, of course, being a sinful man, he was sent to the abode of Yamaraj, being sent to the abode of Yamaraj, and he was punished in different hellish conditions. And then in the next slide, he got the body of a bull. So the master of this bull, who was a Sarma before, was very cruel. You know, he loaded him so much heavy burden. And finally, after some years, this bull became old, and then still the owner of the bull torturing the bull, and then he loaded so much heavy stuff, and then because he could not bear it anymore, so in one marketplace he just collapsed. This bull just collapsed. And then the people who saw this incident, they approached the bull, who was actually about to die. Yeah. And then one man said that, oh, whatever pious activities I have done in my life, all the credit is given to this bull. And then many people saw this, and then many people also giving their pious credit for this bull. And it's happened, there was one prostitute who just passed by and saw the bull and people just giving their blessing, their pious credits. And then this prostitute said that, all right, I'm a prostitute, but if I have done something good in my life, may all the credits for this bull. And finally, the bull died. And then as soon as the bull died, so Yamaraj said that now you are free from all your sinful reactions. And then this bull, who was Susharma before, was wondering that how is it possible? And Yamaraj said that you are freed from all your the reaction of your past misdeed because of the piety of that prostitute. And then this bull, who was a Sarma before, it took birth as a Brahmana in a Brahmana family. And he got the blessing. Actually, he could remember who he was in the past life. And then after a few years, he tried to find out this prostitute because he was so curious, like what she has done, so much piety that she gave to me, and I became like this now. I'm born in a Brahmana family. And then finally he met this prostitute, the same prostitute that gave the pious credit to the bull, who was Susharma before, who was he himself in the previous life. And then this Brahmana, asking this prostitute, tried to remind her about there was a dying bull in the marketplace. And then he was asking, like, what pious activities that you have done. And then this prostitute said that, well, I'm just a prostitute, but I have a parrot at my home, And this parrot is reciting something, and whenever I heard that recitation, my heart becomes so peaceful. My heart becomes so peaceful. And then both of them went to the parrot, and then both of them asking the parrot what you are reciting. You know, of course, we may wonder that, oh, a parrot can talk with a human. Of course, why not? This is like in the bygone age, and that's the miracle still happened. You know, and the parrot explained like this. Actually, this parrot also get the blessing that he could remember his past life, his previous life. So the parrot said, in my previous life, I was a Brahmana. I was so learned. I'm a scholar, but I'm so proud of my knowledge in scripture. And I happen to envy some other Brahmanas. And after I die, of course, I got the punishment. And then I was born to be a parrot. When I was a small bird, my parents, the parent of this, the parents of this parrot died when this parrot still like, very, very small. And he fell down on a hot sand from its nest, He fell down on a hot sand, and there was one rishi, one brahmana, who saw this and became compassionate to this parrot. And he picked up the parrot and took care of the parrot and put in the cage. And then this rishi has son who's studying the Bhagavad Gita. So every morning, the son of this brahmana, of this rishi, reciting the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So being a parrot, he heard over and over again, and he memorized the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. And then one day there was a thief stolen the parrot and sold it out to the prostitute. Now we come to the point that this prostitute purchased the parrot from a thief. And then this parrot every day, every single morning, recited the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. And unknowingly, this prostitute heard it every day. And then when she saw this bull dying, she said that she gives whatever pious credit that she has. That's enough to actually deliver Susharma from all kind of sinful reactions that he has done in the past. So we see the power just by accidentally hearing the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, accidentally hearing the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, that gives us so much piety that actually we as devotees, we don't care about material piety, right? Our aim is just bhakti, how we can develop love for Krishna. But the point here is that so much power it has, the Bhagavad Gita, so much power, so much potency. Accidentally hearing just the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, that was the effect. And Susarma was freed from all sinful reaction in the past, and he was born in a Brahmana family. Yeah? And he became a devotee, of course. Many times we think that Bhagavad Gita, many times I heard actually some preachers saying that actually Bhagavad Gita is the ABC in our spiritual life, in our study. But actually, if we don't know how to read ABC, we'll not be able to read. If we don't study ABC, we'll not be able to read. We may think that the Bhagavad Gita is the basic. Of course, it is basic knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita. And many preachers said that, yes, you can start studying the Bhagavad Gita from chapter 2 directly. Yeah, because directly there, the Atma Tattva Gyan, the Sankhya philosophy is explained by Krishna. But actually, the first chapter, of course, in the beginning, we see like how Duryodhana being so diplomatic. And then we see the symptoms of Arjuna's victory, the Pandavas' victory. And then finally, we see how Lord Krishna being the Bhaktavatsala, reciprocating with his own devotees, pure devotees. And we see Arjuna's arguments not to fight. In the first chapter, there are 4 Arjuna's arguments not to fight. We find in the second chapter, text number 6, the fifth reason of Arjuna not to fight. But here it is. If we don't analyze our problem in life, we will not get the answer or solution. So Bhagavad Gita chapter 1 is full of problem. Yeah, we see how Arjuna was in dilemma, you know, in confusion. That is our problem. We are always in confusion, in illusion. So in order to know solution, we have to analyze what is our problem. What is my problem? That's first of all. And of course, the other chapters has his own story and glorification. And all these chapters are glorious. Yeah, and Bhagavad Gita definitely glorious. What to speak of studying the whole Bhagavad Gita, even a fraction of the verse of the Bhagavad Gita, that's actually purifying our heart. So that's about the glorification of Bhagavad Gita. As I mentioned earlier, that the glorification of the Bhagavad Gita is endless. Is endless because it is not different from Krishna, directly emanates from Krishna's lotus mouth. So now, keeping aside that for now, we will be discussing about the 5 topics which are discussed in the Bhagavad Gita, throughout the Bhagavad Gita. There are 5 tattvas. Yeah. You have heard this, you have read this, you have studied this, and it is always good to study it again. Yeah. So the Bhagavad Gita, the 5 basic truths or tattvas discussed in the Bhagavad Gita. First one is Ishvara, the supreme controller, Lord Sri Krishna, Ishvara, and then Prakriti, nature or Krishna's energy, and then Jiva, the soul, spirit souls, and then Kala, the time factor, and then the last one is Karma. So amongst these 5, the first 4 is actually an eternal principle. And the last one, the 5th one, is not eternal principle. Yeah. Some devotees, when I explain like this, some devotees ask, how could you say Prakriti is eternal? How could you say Prakriti is eternal principle? We see that Prakriti is being destroyed, yeah, being annihilated. But here is the answer. Here's the principle. Prakriti is Krishna's energy. And material nature is Krishna's energy. In the 7th chapter, Krishna explained the complete science. What is complete science? Both science of Paraprakriti and Aparaprakriti. Superior energy and inferior energy. So Prakriti is in the category of inferior energy, the Bahiranga Sakti of the Lord, yeah? External potency of the Lord. But how we can say that Prakriti is an eternal principle? First of all, it is Krishna's energy, and Krishna and his energy is absolute. That means Krishna is eternal, so also his energy is eternal. But when it is destroyed, the explanation is that it is not destroyed completely, it just being unmanifest. It is put in the unmanifest state, and later Krishna will manifest that again. So that Mahat Tattva or Pradhan is remain eternal. Yeah. Sarga. Yeah, 10 subject matters discussed in the Bhagavatam. Yeah, Sarga, Visarga, Stanam, Pustanam, Uttayaha, Manvantare, Sanukata, Nirodho, Muktir, Ashraya. So Sarga is the first creation done by the Lord, and the Pradhan or Mahatattva is the component or the ingredients, and that ingredient is eternal. But when it is destroyed, when it is being annihilated, the explanation is that it just unmanifests, but the energy remained there. So that's the principle. Prakriti is eternal. Yeah, Prakriti is eternal, but sometimes it is manifest and sometimes unmanifest. Yeah, because it is Krishna's eternal potency, eternal energy. Yeah, so Ishvara is eternal, Krishna is eternal, Prakriti is eternal, Jiva, the spirit soul, is eternal, Kala, It's eternal. But karma is not eternal. We can stop the chain of karma. Karma granti nibandhana chindanti ko virastasya kona kuryat katharati. One way is simply by hearing. Kona kuryat katharati. Who will not get attracted to the topic about Krishna if that can actually cut the knot of the karmic reaction? Karma granti. Granti means the knot. You know, when you have a rope, for example, and when it's entangled, makes knot. Sometimes it's very difficult to untie it. So the easiest way is just to cut it, just to cut. Yeah. So that's the power of Krishna Katha. So these are the 5 basic principles, 5 tattvas discussed throughout the Bhagavad Gita. And I have done some little bit research. Actually, we can find these 5 principles like throughout the Bhagavad Gita, throughout. But I'm just putting few points here where we can find all this. Yeah, just to give us small glimpse. We have like more or less 30 minutes from now, including question and answer. I don't know how far I can go. Yeah, I'll try to be quick. So first, Ishvara, yeah, Krishna, the supreme controller. Yeah. So Krishna is the source and basics of everything. So this is discussed in the Bhagavad Gita. The first one we can see here in the 4.11, Ye Yathamam Prapadyante Tam Tataiva Bhajamyaham. Yeah, Mama Vartmanu Vartanti Manusha Partha Sarvasa, where Krishna says that as how far you surrender to me, so up to that much I will reciprocate to you. Ye Yathamam Prapadyante. Yeah. Manusya Partha Sarvasaha, and everyone actually should follow Krishna's path, the path shown by Krishna. So that means our ultimate goal is that Ishvara, the supreme controller. Yeah. And then 7.7 Mata Parataram Nanyat Kinchedasri Dhananjaya. Mayi Sarvamidam Protam Srute Mani Ganaiva. Krishna said that everything rests on me. There is no superior truth. Because everything is just like Srute Mani Gana Iva, just like pearl strung on a thread. So nothing can be separated or independent from Krishna because he is the controller, everything controlled by Krishna. Yeah. So there we can find that aspect, Ishvara aspect. And then 10.8 Aham Sarvasya Prava, of course, this is a very well-known verse that everything comes from Krishna. Yeah, Krishna is the source of everything. Yeah, because he's the source, he's the basic of everything, he's the Ishvara. And then this is the statement of Arjun in text number 12 of 10th chapter, Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram Paramam Bhavat. Arjun accepted Krishna to be the supreme personality of Godhead, Param Brahma. Okay? And 13.3, Kshetra Gyam Chapimam Vidi Sarva Kshetre Subharata Kshetra Kshetra Gyayor Gyanam Yata Gyanam Matamam. Krishna says that Kshetra Gyam Chapi Mam Vidi. There is knower of the field. There is field and knower of the field. So the body is the field. The knower of the field is the jiva. Yeah. We know what's going on in this body, right? But Krishna says that Kshetra Gyayor Gyanam. So those who know about the Kshetra is the knower of the Kshetra or Kshetra Gya. But there are 2 types of Kshetra Gyas. One is the Jiva and the other one is the Supersoul, the Ishvara, Lord Krishna. Yeah. Kshetra Gyam Cha Api. Cha means also. I'm also the knower of the body. But here's the thing. Me, the jiva, an individual jiva knows only what's going on in its body. I don't know what's going on in yours right now, but I know up to some extent what's going on to my body. But Krishna, who is residing in my heart, know what's going on in your body because he's residing in your heart also. So my knowledge is limited. What to speak of your body? Even I don't know exactly what's going on in my body completely. I don't realize that how my nails, how my hair is just growing. Suddenly after 1 week or 2 weeks, it's already long and I have to cut. When there is some disease, I cannot uh, analyze what's going on in my body. So I have to go to somebody else, to doctor, get some prescription. If I know what's wrong with my body, I can cure it by myself. So that is the proof. Actually, my knowledge about my own body is limited. But Krishna's knowledge about my body and everybody's body is perfect. He knows everything going on. Yeah. So that is the Iswara aspect. And then in text number 23, in the 13th chapter, Upadrastam Mantacha, this verse also. Yeah. Bharta Bhakta Maheshwara, Paramatmeti Chapi Ukto Dehesmin Purushavara. Krishna said that he is the Paramatma residing in everybody's heart. Upadrasta Anumantacha. He is the seer and the Anumanta, the bestower, giving the permission. Yeah, without his permission, nothing can happen. So he sees and he gives the permission for the jivas to enjoy or suffer the reaction of his activities. Without his permission, there's nothing can happen. Yeah, that's the first point. Sorry, another point here from the first aspect, Krishna is the source, being the Iswara aspect, is Sarvasya Chaham Hridisani Visto. Yeah, this is the famous verse, classic verse of the Bhagavad Gita 15.15. Same point also mentioned that he's residing in everybody's heart. Yeah, he is the Paramatma. Mata Smriti Jnana Apohanam Cha. All the remembrance, Smriti, Jnana, knowledge, and Apohan, forgetfulness. Yeah, it actually comes from Krishna. Yeah, Mata Smriti Jnanam Apohanam Cha. So he gives the remembrance, he gives the knowledge, he gives the forgetfulness. We may wonder, like, why Krishna also giving us forgetfulness? Yeah. So if Krishna, this forgetfulness is actually a manifestation of Lord Krishna's love for us. Srila Prabhupada explained, if Krishna doesn't give you forgetfulness, if you able remember in your past life, for example, if you are a prime minister in your past life, and now you become a dog, street dog, how painful it is. How would you feel? Yeah, how would you feel? So forgetfulness is Lord Krishna's mercy, manifestation of his love. If we remember what had happened in our past life, how suffer we are, we cannot enjoy this very lifetime. That was Srila Prabhupada's explanation. So that is the aspect of Krishna is the source and basic of everything, still in the Ishvara aspect. And then the second point is that Krishna is the seed-giving father of all. This is the proof that he's the controller. He is the seed-giving father. You can find in this verse 7.10, Bijara Bhutanam. Krishna says, I'm the seed-giving father to all living entities, Sarva Bhutanam. And then 9.17, Pitaham Asya Jagatu. So the whole world. Who is the father? Krishna. And then Maharsaya Sapta Purve, text 10.6, where Krishna mentioned these 7 rishis. And actually the continuation of the verse mentioning that, including the Prajapatis and also the Chatur Kumaras, comes from Krishna. So Krishna is the Prapitamaha. Yeah. Lord Brahma is the Pitamaha, the great grandfather, Lord Brahma. He is the first creator in the material universe. But Lord Krishna is the Prapitamaha. He is the father of the great grandfather. So in that way, he is the Iswara. And then Yachapi Sarva Bhutanam, Krishna also mentioned that all the living entities emanates from me. And then Sarva Yuni Kantaya Muchaya Sambhavantya Tasam Brahma Mahadyoni Aham Bija Pradabita. Clearly Krishna mentioned that I am the seed-giving father. Yoni means born. Born. All this jivas born out of me. And then still in the Ishvara aspect, Krishna is the creator, maintainer, and destroyer. Yeah. Etad Yonini Bhutani. So Etad Yonini Bhutani, we mentioned that all this living entity, Bhutani, Yonini, is created by Krishna. It's created by Krishna. Prakritim Swam Avasthavya. So similarly also this verse explaining that he creates the Prakriti, the material universe. And then Nachamatstani Bhutani. And Krishna says he maintains the all living entity. Yeah. And then Kalosmi Lokak Sayakrit Pravrido. Krishna says that he in the form of time is actually the destroyer, the great destroyer of everything. Yeah. Kalo Asmi Lokak Sayakrit Pravrido. Still in the Ishvara aspect, Krishna's supremacy confirmed by authorities. Yeah, first, Arjun already confirmed Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, but we may think that, oh, because Arjuna is Krishna's friend, he may say whatever he wants. He can say Krishna is God. But that is not his own sentiment. It is confirmed by great authority. Ahustvam Risaya Sarve, Devarsi, Narada Sata Asito Devalo Vyasa, Swayam Eva Bravisimi. Arjuna said, it is not only me, but all these great sages, like Devarsi Narad, Narad Muni, Asita, Devala, and Srila Vyasadeva confirm that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. So that is his position as Ishvara, confirmed by the authorities. And then Sanjaya also mentioned this, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, at the end of the Bhagavad Gita, Yatra Partho Dhanudara, Tatra Sri Vijayabhuti Dvani Tirmatir. So we know that Krishna is the Yogeshwara, the topmost, the master of all the mystic yoga. Yeah, he's the Ishvara. So that's the first truth, yeah, about Ishvara. I try to be brief about the other four. Prakriti. We find this description here, 3.27, Prakriti Kriyamanani Gunai Karmani Sarvasa. So the three modes of material nature, yeah, this material universe, Prakriti, is consists of the three modes of material nature. And then in text number 4 and 5 of chapter 7, where here actually Krishna explains two types of Prakriti or his energy. There is Para Prakriti, spirit energy, and Apara Prakriti, inferior energy. Now, what is inferior energy? Bhumirapo nalo vayu kamanu bodhir evacha ahankara iti yame bhina prakriti astada. Krishna said that these 8 items, they are Krishna's separated external potency. And then what is Krishna's superior prakriti? Aparyam itastvanyam prakriti vidime param jiva bhuta mahabaho yayedam daryate jagat. So the jiva is also prakriti, is also Krishna's energy, but superior energy in which the jiva can manipulate the lower energy. Yeah. So of course we know that our constitutional position as jiva, although we are being the prakriti, to be enjoyed by the Lord, because we come from Krishna, we are part and parcel of Krishna, so naturally we inherit Krishna's quality of being the enjoyer. That's why when we want to exhibit this nature, being enjoyer, being controller, so Krishna creates the material nature for us to exhibit our tendency to enjoy, our tendency to control. But actually, we are meant to be enjoyed by Krishna. Although we have this nature of enjoying, because that's natural, we inherit the nature of our father, the quality of our father, Krishna. Yeah. But our constitutional position is to serve Krishna. meant to be enjoyed, not the enjoyer. Yeah? So that's para prakriti and apara prakriti. And then in 9.10, Maya Dakshana Prakriti Suyati Sajana Chana Hetu Nanina Kantiya Jagat Viparivartate. Krishna says that this cosmic manifestation is created by me and it's moved under my direction. Yeah. And then Purusha Prakriti Stohi. Bhumte Prakriti Jan Gunan Karanam Guna Sangosya Sadasa Yoni Janmasu. When the living entity get in touch with the Prakriti, Karanam Guna Sangosya, according to the mode in which we are associating, so we'll be affected with that particular mode of nature. Yeah? So that's also the Prakriti aspect discussed in the Bhagavad Gita. And then text number 5 of chapter 14, this verse, Sattvam Rajas Tama iti guna prakriti sambhava. So it's described about the three modes of material nature, which is the three gunas of this cosmic manifestation, prakriti. Sambhava means appear. And then text 26 of chapter 14. Yeah, Mam Chayu Vya Vicharina Bhakti Yogena Sevate Sagunan Samatityaitan Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. This is how the entangled living entity can get rid from the gunas entanglement, yeah, by bhakti. Sagunan Samatityaitan means we can transcend the three modes of material nature, this prakriti, yeah, by ananya bhakti. Bhakti Yogena. Avya Vicharina means unalloyed devotional service. And then point number 3 about the jiva, where we can find this description here. Of course, the Sankhya philosophy. Yeah. Krishna vividly explained about the jiva tattva, atma tattva gyan, from text number 12 to 30 of chapter 2. Yeah. To defeat actually Arjuna's first argument not to fight, which is compassion. How can I kill my spiritual master? How can I kill my grandfather? How can I kill my brothers, family members? Being compassionate. And Krishna explained this from starting from text number 12. Na tvevaham jatu nasam natvam nime janalipah. Na chaivana bhavishyama sarve vayamatavanam. All these kings, me and you, everybody assembled here, we were existed in the past, now we are existing, and in the future we will remain existing. That means the soul is eternal. Yeah. And all this description, like Najayate Mriyateva Kadachin, Vasam Sijirnani Yatha Vihaya, Nainam Chindanti Sastrani, Dehino Sminyatarihi, all these slokas actually establishing the eternal principle of the individual jiva. The individual jiva is eternal. So there is no need to be compassion. Of course, Srila Prabhupada explained to kill is not allowed. Here is the principle of killing. If you kill in your own accord, using your own whims, that's prohibited. You will get sin. You will go to the hell. You will get punishment. But if a soldier, Kshatriya like Arjun, in the battle, fighting, the more people he kill in the opposite party, he will get a reward of that because he was instructed by superior authority. And moreover, Krishna himself, God himself, asking him to fight. And Krishna is giving the reason that when you kill Bhishma, when you kill Drona, actually that's giving them the chance to get another fresh body to enjoy more their life. Because now they're getting old. You see, when you get old, everything will be limited. Your food will be limited. You cannot eat this, you cannot eat that. Digestion problem. So when you get a new body, you can enjoy more. So that's what Krishna says to Arjuna. Yeah. So that's the Atma Tattva Gyan. Yeah. Text 12 to 30, chapter 2. Sankhya philosophy. Sankhya means to analyze matter and spirit. Yeah. So Jiva is an eternal individual, never subjected to birth or death. And then here we see, same here also, about the jiva, because the jiva is the superior energy of the Lord. Yeah, that is discussed there. And text 2 of chapter 13, where it is mentioned, Kshetragya iti tadvida. Yeah, Kshetragya means the knower of the body. So the jiva. There, jiva aspect also discussed. And then 15.7, Mama Imamso Jiva Loke Jiva Bhutasana, that the jiva emanates from Krishna. It's part and parcel. Jiva, the amsa means part. Yeah. Mama eva amsa means the jiva is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So that's what. And then point number 4, kala, where we can find this in text number 17 of 8th chapter, Sahasra Yuga Paryantam. If we read Srila Prabhupada's explanation, everything is detailed there. You know, how long is the lifespan of Brahma compared to our earthly calculation? How much? It's so much, billions. And then in text 23 to 26, yeah, discussing about Kala, also auspicious and inauspicious time of leaving the body, where Krishna explained that there are two times of leaving the body, one in the light, one in darkness. Yeah, there's like specific time, like in Uttarayana when the sun moved toward the north. So that's auspicious time to leave the body, and many yogis actually are waiting for that time to leave the body, because that time is considered to be time of light. Whoever pass away during that time will go back home, back to Godhead. Prabhupada explaining the purport. So that's about Kala. And then text 7 and 8 of chapter 9. Kalpa Kshaye Punastani Kalpa Danu Vishijamyaham. This is also talking about Kalpa, time factor. And then 19 to 25 from chapter 11. Here Krishna described the Kala Rupa of Krishna. How Krishna is crushing all when Lord Krishna saw the Virat Rupa. So he sees actually all the opposite party, everybody, including in his party. Some people just get crushed in the mouth of the Virat Rupa. That means Arjuna can see the future. Before Krishna says, Nimitta matram bhavasavya sachin, just be my instrument. So Krishna shows to Arjuna first that all these people is actually meant to die. Even if you don't fight, they will die anyway. So rather than you flee away from the battlefield and the opposite party will think that you are a coward, they will not think that you have this soft-hearted nature. They will think that you are a coward. So just get up and fight. Be my instrument. This Bhishma, Drona, Karna, Duryodhana, the Kauravas, they meant to die. If you don't kill them, somehow or other they will be killed. So better just do your duty and fight. Yeah? So that is Kala. Krishna sees the future. Arjuna sees the future. Text 32 again. Krishna mentioning, Kalosmi Lokaksaya Krit Pravridyo. This also, apart from the Ishvara aspect, this verse is also describing about Kala aspect, because Krishna, Kala, time is representative of the Lord, which destroys. And then the last point, karma. Yeah. Where we can find in the Bhagavad Gita, here, text 47 of chapter 2, Karma Nivadikarte Ma Palasukadachana, where Krishna mentioned that you have the right to perform your duties, but don't attach with the result, because you are not the cause of the result. Ma karma phala hetur. You are not the cause of the result of your activities. Mate sango swakarmani. Don't get used to not performing your duty. Yeah, karma, activities. And then text 9 of chapter 3 and text 28 of chapter 9 also discussing about karma. Only by working for Vishnu one is freed from karma. Yeah, yagyatat karma no nyatra. Lokoyam karma bandhana. So karma bandhana means the bondage of karma can be destroyed when we dedicating the result of our activities for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu. And text number 12 of chapter 5, Krishna mentioned ayukta kama karina sakto nibhadyate. So karma, the result of karma is nibhadyate, or bonding. But Ayukta, by regular practice, by surrendering the result of our activities to Krishna, we get freed from the karmic reaction. And then text 16 to 18 of chapter 4, yeah, where Krishna is explaining the intricacy of karma are difficult to understand even by wise. Yeah. Even the wise people, even the intelligent people, sometimes they get confused of how karma works. Yeah. And regarding karma, I would like, this is actually the last slide, almost toward the end. I'd like all of us to pay attention to this verse, how we can get rid of the karmic reaction. Yeah. Because karma can be terminated, can be stopped. Yeah, because it is not an eternal principle. This is text number 51 of chapter 2 Bhagavad Gita. Karmajam buddhiyuktahi phalam tyaktva manisinaha janma bhanda vinirmukta padam gachatyanam mayam. Yeah, translation by Srila Prabhupada. By thus engaging in devotional service to the Lord, great sages or devotees free themselves from the results of work in material world. In this way, they become free from the cycle of birth and death and attain the state beyond all miseries, yeah, by going back to God. So Vaikunta, Vigata Kunta iti Vaikunta, the place where there is no miseries is known as Vaikunta. So this is actually should be our meditation. Yeah. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Yeah. Srila Prabhupada quoted this verse, the 10th canto, very famous verse, yeah, one of my favorite verse also. Samasrita se padapallava plavam mahat padam punya yasho murare bhavam buddhir vatsa padam param padam 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 yadvi padam naatesam. Yeah, for one who has accepted the abode of the lotus feet of the Lord, who is the shelter of the cosmic manifestation, is famous as Mukunda, or the giver of mukti. The ocean of material world is like water contained in a calf's footprint, param padam, or the place where there are no material miseries, or Vaikuntha is his goal, not the place where there is danger in every step of life. So here it is. Padam padam yadvi padam. The material world full of dangers in every step. Yeah. But not Trisam. In Vaikuntha, there is no this kind of dangers. Yeah. What's up padam param padam? If we take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, this vast material ocean, this ocean will become small. The water becomes so shallow. Uh, as shallow as water contained in the calf's footprint. Continuation of the Prabhupada's purport. Owing to ignorance, one does not know that this material world is miserable place where there are dangers at every step. I highlighted this point because it could be our great meditation. Out of ignorance only, less intelligent persons try to adjust the situation by fruitive activities, thinking that the resultant actions will make them happy. They do not know that no kind of material body anywhere within the universe can give life without miseries. Yeah, the body is meant for meant to die actually, giving us so much pain. Right there, right from entering the womb of the mother. Yeah, already we find so much miseries. The miseries of life, namely birth, death, old age, and diseases, are present everywhere within the material world, but one who understands his real constitutional position as the eternal servitor of the Lord, and thus knows the position of the personality of Godhead, engages himself in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Consequently, he becomes qualified to enter into Vaikuntha planets, where there is neither material miseries, sorry, where there is neither material, miserable life, nor the influence of time and death. Okay, that's important point. To know one's constitutional position means to know also the sublime position of the Lord. The Mayavadis, they know only Aham Brahmasmi. Okay? They know that they are not the body, but their realization course, their self-realization is just half complete because they don't know the position of the Lord. So the Vaishnavas knows the Atma Tattva Gyan, the Sambandha Tattva Gyan. That's very important. What is our relationship with Krishna? One who wrongly thinks that the living entity's position and the Lord's position are on the same level is to be understood to be in darkness and therefore unable to engage himself in devotional service of the Lord. He becomes a Lord himself and thus paves the way to the repetition of birth and death. But one who, understanding that his position is to serve, transfers himself to the service of Lord, at once becomes eligible for Vaikuntha Loka. Service for the cause of the Lord is called Karma Yoga or Buddhi Yoga, or in plain words, devotional service to the Lord. Yeah. So that's our goal, devotional service to the Lord. Why we are reading the Bhagavad Gita? Just to develop our bhakti to the Lord. Yeah. This is the very last slide here. Yeah. Every living entity, this is a quotation from Srila Prabhupada from the Bhagavatam. Every living entity, especially persons in the human race, what's that? Can't read fully. Yeah, the human race must feel grateful for the benediction offered by the grace of the Supreme Lord. So that is the Bhagavad Gita, is the mercy of the Lord, and we have to take advantage of it. Be thankful to Krishna, to Arjun, to Srila Prabhupada, especially. Prabhupada said that why he writes again this Bhagavad Gita, because 50 plus years ago, Prabhupada mentioned all over the world, now we find more than 200 editions of the Bhagavad Gita in different languages, but none of them is actually directing to the real goal, which is devotion to Krishna. Most of the Bhagavad Gitas that we find is actually directing us toward the impersonal aspect of the Lord. Yeah. For example, like in my country, in Indonesia, there are many editions of the Bhagavad Gita commented by different people, so-called scholar, but that's actually misleading. So this Bhagavad Gita, as it is, actually not the Bhagavad Gita that which was written by Srila Prabhupada for the first time, because there was Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada gave the commentary, gave the purport before get it printed out, so it got stolen. That copy, the first copy, got stolen. Not only the book, but also the uh, typewriter of Srila Prabhupada got stolen. And Srila Prabhupada has to retype it again with his 2 fingers. Can you imagine? He's a very old man typing with 2 fingers. He's not like our generation now, like even you close your eyes, you still find the keyboard. But Srila Prabhupada was using 2 fingers. And he retyped again. And then how the Bhagavad Gita got published for the first time with the Macmillan Company. When Brahmananda Prabhu went there, actually they said that this book is too big, we cannot publish it. So they have to cut some of Srila Prabhupada's purport. Only after Srila Prabhupada established the BBT, then this edition with the full purport of the Bhagavad Gita by Srila Prabhupada manifested. And that is actually precious gift for all of us. I'm from Indonesia, from a Muslim country, but I feel that by the mercy of the devotees, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, I somehow rather trying to be a devotee. Hare Krishna. So it's exactly 8:30. I don't know, is there some space for answering a question? I'm sorry if my presentation too long, but I appreciate so much your time and being attentive, and yeah, most appreciated. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Such exhaustive coverage you have given. I believe entire Bhagavad Gita is covered, and especially the particular sloka verses you have mentioned, Ishvara, Prakriti, Jiva, Kala, Karma, is really excellent. I request the participants, if any questions, if they not have, then I can ask one questions. So participant can ask the question by unmuting the mic, unmuting the mic. You can ask question. The participant requested. Please ask questions.
Maybe they don't have questions.
Okay, Prabhuji. So I have one question, Prabhuji.
Hare Prabhuji,
Yes. Please
Hare
go ahead.
Krishna
Go ahead.
Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for your very nice class. Prabhuji, my question is that in all lectures, devotees ask us to read the scriptures, but Srila Prabhupada, somewhere he had asked us to study the scriptures. So when we go to study a scripture, I think it's enough for a lifetime. Means if I go to study the Bhagavad Gita, I will not get any time to read other scriptures. So what we can do for that? If you can please guide.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Thank you so much for your question. That's a practical question. Yeah. Actually, in life, there are four things that we have to do. Yeah. Read, study, live it, and teach it. Yeah, it's not only Bhagavad Gita. Any literatures which is connected to Krishna, such as the Bhagavatam or any Prabhupada's book. Yeah. Of course, in the Gita Mahatmya, it is mentioned that simply by studying this one book, Bhagavad Gita, with full devotion, with full attention, that's enough. Because actually, the Bhagavad Gita is the basic of all knowledge. Yeah. And if you see in the Srimad Bhagavatam or Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Prabhupada extensively quoted. There are many verses from the Bhagavad Gita. And then in the Bhagavad Gita purport, Srila Prabhupada would quote sometimes the verses from Srimad Bhagavatam. Just like this text number 51 of sloka of chapter number 2. We find that verse from the Bhagavatam. What does it mean? It's all actually interconnected. So the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, or whatever, Srila Prabhupada's book, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Isopanishad, Upadesmrita, you can read it. Doesn't matter what. But here is the thing. If we study systematically, we get more clear understanding of our philosophy. Of course, the purpose of our reading, our studying is not just to get information or get knowledge, but to develop love for Krishna. Why I'm attending Bhagavatam class every morning, for example? It is not just to get information, new information, but to purify my heart, because that is part of my sadhana, right? So similarly also, studying the Bhagavad Gita is like that. It's not that I study the Bhagavad Gita just to get information, in which actually information is very important. Yeah? Very important. But superior to that understanding is that how can I develop my love for Krishna? Yeah. But as I mentioned, when you study it systematically, you will get a better understanding of our philosophy. Because Srila Prabhupada says that actually we need so many preachers. We need so many preachers. Why the Bhakti Sastri is there? That is Srila Prabhupada's desire. That's Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's desire. Because in one lecture, in one letter, I think that letter was written to His Grace Arupanuga Prabhu, his disciple, where he mentioned that we need so many preachers, yeah, and we want our devotees to be the Bhakti Vedantis. Prabhupada said. That means apart from thinking that this is my sadhana, reading, hearing, but I study this, just to understand better the philosophy. when we understand better the philosophy, that's how we develop love for Krishna also. It is not enough just to know Krishna is great. Well, it's good to understand God is great, Krishna is great. But when we understand how he is great through knowledge about him, through his pastimes, how he's great, then we really convinced that yes, he's the Ishvara, he's God. For example, like the Muslim, for example, they say Allah Akbar means Allah or God is great, but they don't know how God is great. Then simply by saying, oh Prabhu, you are great, but you don't know what he has done that makes him great. So it's just an empty word. Yeah. So that Srila Prabhupada said, not only reading it, but study my books. Prabhupada said, study my book. Yeah. So when we study, that's actually, this is the difference between reading and study. Reading means you just read, but study means you pay attention in every sentence that Srila Prabhupada give us in his purport or in the verse. We think about it carefully, slowly. We read the Bhagavad Gita not like how we read the newspaper. Sometimes the devotee is targeting, okay, within 1 hour, I have to read 30 pages, for example, and after 1 hour, the mind becomes exhausted because the goal is to finish the 30 pages. And you miss so much nectar in it. Yeah. Like you drive a car, you just speed up the car so you don't see the beautiful sightseeing, for example. Well, if you are in Bali, for example, in Indonesia, nice view. I don't know here. Yeah, so study it carefully. It's develop your love by knowing how Krishna is great. Yeah. And how, as you mentioned, it's not enough to study the whole scripture in this life. Yes, that's true. That's true. But our motto is that long life education. As long as you breathe, keep studying. Never end. There's no end to study. Yeah, there's no end to our study. That's why Sada Sevya, keep hearing, keep studying. We may think that, oh, Vishnurata will talk the same thing again and again. But long life education, we keep studying. There is always something new if we, attentively and submissively. Sadhyo Hridaya Varujatetra Akritibi and Sususubis. Kritibi Sususubis, being attentive and being submissive, we will find nature. We'll find something new. But if we have the mentality, I know what you're going to talk. I know this past science. I know this story. I know this sloka. Then you don't get anything. You don't get anything. Because you have to empty your cup before you receiving water from another cup. If you keep the water inside your cup, and when somebody pour water into your cup, the water will spill. So that's the principle. Yeah. Tadvidi Pranipatena, that verse is explaining about how we have to approach spiritual master. We inquire submissively and serve. Yeah. So that's my response. Mataji, thank you.
Oh, so
Thank
any
you.
question more? Any question or any question?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, please
Hare
go ahead.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So, Prabhu, I am like 23 years old. So, I am like studying. So, I have to study like almost 9 to 10 hours a day. So, my mind is completely like exhausted. So, I get very, very limited time to devote to like this philosophy and Krishna consciousness. So sometimes and often I get detached from this thing, but my parents are devotees, so it's easy. But still, I personally, cannot feel that nectar the way you were explaining. So, for a student who is studying so much, and how can I realize the nectar and love for Krishna, because the time constraint is like there?
Hare Krishna. Yes, this is another practical question. Yeah. Of course, first of all, we have to be clear here. Yeah. Everybody is independent and has their own choice. You have your choice. I have my choice. Hmm? You have your own priority. I have my own priority. Let me tell you something about my story in life. You know, my parents are devotees, families are devotees. We have altar at home. We have kirtan. We have Sandhya Arati every day. I used to invite my friends. And then I work in a, private bank as a debt collector, and also simultaneously I study in university. So my dream was I will become a rich man, at the same time I'll become a pure devotee. That was my expectation. That's why I work in the bank, I study in university, and we are devotee. And then the faculty that I studied in university is economic banking, because I want to become a bank manager or I want to become an accountant. It produces a lot of money, and I already work in the bank, but as a debt collector, it's like I'm thinking like I start my career like this, from bottom, from down, goes up a little bit. And you know what? Like the whole villagers, they see me in such a respect that I'm such a young man. I behave nicely because devotees family. I don't drink, I don't smoke, behave nicely, and at the same time, I look like I'm educated because I study in university, and at the same time, I earn some money, which is like wow, for the villagers. I felt that oh, this life is so nice. Till one very senior brahmachari visited our house, and then he asked me, why you work so hard, you study so hard, what you gonna achieve in life? And I explained this is my dream, blah 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 blah. And then he told me, he asked me how many chapatis you can eat in a day. I said, well, in one shot, maybe 4 or 5 chapatis and some sabji. Then why you work so hard? Well, I said I have this dream, I want to become rich. And then he said, let's join the ashram just for a month. At that time was Kartik. You know. So I said, all right. I took leave from my job. I told my boss, look, I'm just having family. I was lying. I told that my the brother of my grandfather passed away, so we have this funeral ceremony, and I have to go to some other islands. So I may spend for a month because our tradition, Hindu tradition in Indonesia is so thick. I told like this, and my boss said, okay, okay, you take leave, don't worry. And my boss also loved me very much, honestly speaking. And then in the university also, I took a leave. I told my teacher, said, well, I have to go, so I take leave for a month. And then I went to the temple and I joined the ashram for the entire Kartik month. And then I felt like, wow, life in the ashram is so good. And I switched off my phone. I was afraid. And my mother especially, she is too attached to me. She tried to call me, of course. My phone was switched off. This was like in 2012. I just joined the ashram, 2012. And then he called the temple president. Temple president called, where is Vishnu, my son? And I talked that, I said, I think I'm going to spend a few more days. And then days becomes weeks, becomes months. And 5 months, I didn't return. My mother was mad at me like anything. She was cursing. She was weeping like anything. She said that, why you do like this? Finally, what? I quit my job. I quit university. I didn't graduate finally. I didn't graduate finally. It's almost there. It's almost there. I didn't graduate finally. And yeah, and I joined the ashram. And after 5 months, I was sent to Cambodia, another country, which is like going further from my family. And it was like, but here's the thing. You have your own choice. I have my own choice. I just sat down that dream. You know, I don't want this degree anymore. I just feel that life is so good being a full-time devotee. And that was it. This devotee who asked me to join the ashram just cut off all my material dream. So and now life is just go on like this. Uh, I mean, I don't earn so much. I have family, but somehow or other Krishna takes care. Somehow or other Krishna takes care. Yeah. Ananya chintayanto mam yejana pariyupasati tisam nityam yuktanam yogaksema mahamiham. Never doubt this verse from the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, that he will provide what you need and will preserve what you have. Now, please remember, what you need and what you want is different. Sometimes we want something and it doesn't get fulfilled. We protest to Krishna. Krishna, why? You said this in the Bhagavad Gita, but you don't fulfill what I want. Because what you want sometimes not very favorable for your devotional service. Therefore, Krishna doesn't award that. So that's my response. Now you are still student, then you devote your time to your study. And I don't say that material study is not important. It is very important. When you get a degree, people will listen to you. In the future, you may become a great preacher because you have this degree. People will listen to a person who has a degree. I don't have a degree. Finally, I don't have a degree. But that's the thing. But keep in mind, by simply having that desire that you want to develop love for Krishna, you want to realize the nectarian of Srila Prabhupada's purport, keep that in mind. One day you will get it. But now you continue your study, you chant your rounds, follow the four regulative principles, and you you just spend some time to read on a regular basis. Then that rati or attraction to Krishna will automatically come, because it is not an overnight thing. It's a gradual process. You know, it's a gradual process. And yes, uh, Rupa Goswami mentioned in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, simply by desiring to serve Krishna, one gets liberation. And Srila Prabhupada in Nectar of Devotion give that example, narration of how this sage, this poor Brahmana, he doesn't have anything, but he was in his meditation, he desired to serve, to offer Krishna the sweet rice. And then he cooked, Manasa Seva, he cooked, and then he thinks that, oh, sweet rice is always good when it's tasted, when it gets cold. And then in his meditation, he touched the pot and he felt, oh, the sweet rice is hot. Because he touched the pot, he got his finger burned. But that's actually happened. And then immediately Lord Vishnu came with his Vimana and took him to Vaikuntha. So this is the principle, just by keeping that desire. Now, study is your priority. You are still 23 years old, young age, go ahead with that. And when you get your degree, people will listen to you more, and use this uh, use this degree to become a great preacher.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Such a valuable advice. And please do come again and again and again. You are amazing. And I know that you are such a good singer with Midanga. I request everyone to participate kirtan in the evening time, in the afternoon time with Prabhuji. So Prabhuji, we end the session here. Now it is 8:45 around in the session. So please do come again and again, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Haribol.
I apologize if anything I said maybe not appropriate or not according to our Vaishnava Siddhanta. I'm still studying. I have a lot of imperfection. So please bless me to continue my service. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.